your spring there. Your spring, it's got a smaller hole at this end than at this end. The small end goes over the valve end. There's a little bit of a pain there. Get it just to do that first little bit. We're trying to make sure that that spring goes on there properly. And just with the screwdriver, we can just do it back up. Make sure you don't go and cross thread it though, because it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get this to go in properly and straight. And you don't need to do it up really tight. Just do it up and nip it up a little bit. Whilst you've got these feed lips off, you have a look inside. You can see as you turn the valve, it'll go from a hole to blocked to a hole. I'm going to try making sure one of those holes is lined up just so the gas can get through there a little bit easier. I'll put the valve in the bottom. Again, this doesn't need to be done up majorly tight. Right, before we put the feed lips on, if you don't want to damage those, what we'll do is we'll put the bottom back on again. And when it goes on, you can see you've got a cut out here, just in there, and that's for your spring to go into. This is where your BBs are going to go, so you know that it's going to go in that particular way. But you can see that that's tight, so the pins have got to go through the other way this time. Obviously, last time we knocked them through this way, so we need them to go through that way. What we're going to do, and literally, you're going to have to push as hard as you can, so that then you can get a pin in. Right, so we get the first pin in. Now we're going to pull on this end as hard as we can to pull this down so we can get this pin in. And you push them down as far as we can, and this is where it's going to be a little bit awkward, and this is where a clamp comes in handy, because somehow we've got to push this over as well as knocking the pins through, but then also we don't want to go and be smashing the hell out of this. So what we can do, if we get a bit of wood, we're going to put the mag on top, we're going to push down on the mag so that then we can have a clear go at these pins. We're going to try doing it so it's like this, and then this is actually going to be covering the bottom of our mag, but we'll still allow the hammer to get to the pins. And you just push it as hard as you can. Push as hard as you can. And then got the pins near enough through on that one. Still sitting a little bit proud on this one, but don't go and just go and wallop that through the rest of the way, because if they're not quite there yet, you're going to go and damage it. So it's going to try again and see if we can get it to go a bit further. Alright, that one's level now, that one's level, and come through on that as well. So that's your bottom put back in again now. Now what you can do, before you go and start putting the rest of this together, you could gas it up to make sure that there's no leaks at all. At least then you ain't going to have to be pulling all of this lot apart again if you do go and have a problem down here. And then all we're going to do is we'll get the spring, we'll slide the spring back in. We've got our feed lips already, and you have to push this in, pull it down a little bit, otherwise it jams in here and it cocks it off slightly. Then we just get that, slide that back in, have a look down there, because if you have this down too far, you can see that it's covering the hole. Push it up, now you've got a clear hole, but if you push it up too far, then it'll cover the hole again. You don't want to get it going through and cutting your rubber seal. Then slide that in, pull it down, get our feed lips, put them in, and then just look down there to make sure that that's clear. And if it's clear, we'll just get the pin, we'll just push that pin in, and it's just a little tap to get it all the way through. Make sure it's smooth on that side, smooth on that side. If it's sitting a little proud, give it another little tap with the hammer to get it down, or use your nail just to put on top and just give it a little tap just to get it all neat and pushed home. So now we can test it all out by gassing it up. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure in there, and it'll be a case of somewhere nice and quiet so you can stick your ear to see if you can hear anything coming out of there. Listen to see if you can hear anything coming out from around here and from around your valve and from your exhaust. And a little tip, when you're filling these up, make sure that you haven't got any muck in there, because if you've got a little bit of muck sitting in there and then you go and try gassing it up, you could then push that piece of muck in onto your seal, which then is going to go and stop your seal from sealing. What you can do is a couple of things. You could use this, and what you can do is just before you're going to go and gas up, just put that on top of your pin and do that just to blow a little bit of gas out to then hopefully clear any muck out of it. If you have got muck in there and it is leaking, try filling it right up, putting your pin on top and then turning your mag the right way up, so that then when you push it, it pushes the liquid out rather than just the actual gas, to help get that to clear. The other thing is, when you fill where you've got your lines, if you put your nozzle on the edge of one of those lines, so not in there to fill it, just on the edge of those lines, and give it a quick puff, if there is any muck in there, that'll help blow that muck out as well, and then hopefully stop you putting muck into that valve seal and buggering it up. Cheers guys.